My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes in life you will be wronged. It may happen within your family, among your friends, at your workplace, even in your community. You may be accused unjustly, spoken about unfairly, treated with cruelty, or betrayed by someone you trusted. And when that happens, your heart begins to sink, your eyes fill with tears, and your soul starts to question, why me? Let me tell you something powerful. If they wronged you, don't worry. Allah is on your side. One of the hardest moments in life is when people whom you trusted, loved, or relied upon let you down. You confided in them, you stood by them, you sacrificed for them, and yet when you needed them the most, they turned away or even caused you harm. The pain of being let down, the sting of betrayal, the heartbreak of false accusations or abandonment, these are not just emotional wounds. They shake a person to the core. And in those moments, you may begin to wonder why it happened. You might feel your heart losing hope, your soul sinking in sorrow. But let's pause and reflect. Sometimes when people let you down, it's not because they were evil or that you are weak. It's because Allah is guiding your heart back to where it truly belongs. Your heart was never created to find peace in people. It was created to find peace in its maker. The human being by design is fragile. We are forgetful. We are emotional. We often look for comfort in others, and that's part of our nature. A kind word, a listening ear, a supportive friend, these are blessings. But when the heart starts depending on these things more than it should, Allah may remove them so that we realize that only He is constant. Everyone else is temporary. Every hand you hold can let go. Every shoulder you cry on may eventually turn away. But the one who gave you those people is the same one who remains when they disappear. And that's why when someone breaks your heart, you must not allow it to shatter your connection with the one who created it. Think about it deeply. Some of the most painful moments in your life led you to your most sincere prayers. Some of the people who hurt you the most made you turn to Allah with a brokenness you never knew before. That's not a coincidence. That's mercy in disguise. Sometimes the people who walk away from you are actually being removed for your protection. Sometimes those who speak against you are being used as a means for you to purify your sincerity. The Prophet Ayyub, peace be upon him, was tested in his health, his wealth, and his family. He was a beloved servant of Allah, yet he lost almost everything. His pain was not a sign of distance from Allah, it was a sign of elevation. His story shows us that even when everything is taken away, Allah remains. And when Allah remains, you still have everything. When people disappoint you, instead of being consumed by what they did, ask yourself, what does Allah want me to learn from this? Is He teaching me to let go of dependency on people? Is He softening my heart? Is He building my patience? Is He calling me back to Him? These are the deeper questions a believer asks when hurt. Because the believer knows that no event in life is random. Everything is part of a divine plan. Even the betrayal, even the heartbreak, even the silence of those you expected to speak for you, all of it is part of your journey back to your Creator. One of the names of Allah is Al-Wakil, the one who takes care of your affairs. When you feel you've been left alone to deal with your pain, remember that Al-Wakil is managing your life in ways you don't see. Perhaps someone's betrayal was going to harm you in ways you couldn't imagine, so He allowed them to reveal their true colors. Perhaps someone's silence was protecting you from false hope. And perhaps your loneliness is a space being cleared so that you can build a deeper relationship with the one who never lets you down. My brothers and sisters, do not let the actions of people make you forget the mercy of your Lord. If someone fails you, that doesn't mean you should stop doing good. If someone is ungrateful, that doesn't mean you stop being generous. If someone speaks ill of you, that doesn't mean you lower your character. When you act with goodness, do it for the sake of Allah, not for the sake of people. Because when you do it for Him, your reward is with Him, and He never fails to appreciate even the smallest deed. Let's understand something crucial here. When someone wrongs you, it's natural to feel hurt. It's human to feel pain. But what matters is how you respond. The strength of a believer is not in how loudly they shout for justice, but in how calmly they trust Allah to deliver it. Sometimes you will be misrepresented, you will be misunderstood. You might even be accused of things you never did. But if you know your heart is clean and you are trying your best to please Allah, then trust that He will handle your affairs. Allah knows the unseen. He knows who is sincere and who is not. He knows the truth even when the world is convinced by a lie. There were moments in the lives of the prophets when they were accused unjustly. Take the example of Maryam, the mother of Isa, peace be upon them both. When she came to her people carrying her child, what did they say? They accused her of doing something immoral. They mocked her, insulted her, and turned against her. But did she speak number? She pointed to her child. And what happened? Allah allowed her son to speak as a baby to defend her. That's how Allah delivers justice in His own time, in His own way. Your voice may be ignored by people, but it is never ignored by Allah. The same happened with Yusuf, peace be upon him. A woman of status accused him of wrongdoing. He was innocent, yet he was thrown into prison. But in that prison, Allah elevated him. From prisoner, he became a trusted leader. His patience turned his prison into a pathway to power. And his silence was louder than any defense. Because when Allah defends you, there is no one who can defeat you. So if you're going through something similar, if you're accused, wronged, or abandoned, don't rush to defend yourself in every space. Don't waste your energy trying to convince those who don't want to believe you. Instead, turn to Allah. Complain to Him, seek His help, and focus on your own growth. Because the one who truly relies on Allah knows that every hardship is temporary, but the reward of sabr is eternal. There is something else that's important to remember. When people hurt us, Shaitan uses that as an opportunity. He whispers, "Why are you still kind? Why do you still pray? Why do you still give? Look at how they treated you." But don't listen to those whispers. Because that's exactly what Shaitan wants. He wants you to respond to wrong with more wrong. He wants you to become bitter, cold, and vengeful. But the believer responds with wisdom. When people are unjust, the believer becomes more just. When people lie, the believer remains truthful. When people show hatred, the believer shows grace. That is the prophetic way. That is the way of those whom Allah loves. Patience does not mean you accept oppression number. It means you take the necessary steps for justice without compromising your character. It means you seek your rights through the proper means, but you don't let that journey turn you into someone you're not. You remain calm, truthful, and dignified. That's what Allah loves. And what if you're in a situation where you can't even speak out? What if the truth is too dangerous to reveal, or you fear greater harm? Then know that your silence is not weakness. It is strength when paired with trust in Allah. The believer who remains silent out of wisdom and places the matter in Allah's hands is never truly silent, because every silent prayer is louder in the heavens than the loudest cry on earth. Sometimes all you can do is raise your hands in the darkness of the night and say, "Oh Allah, you know, you see, you hear, you are the one I turn to." And that dua, even if whispered through tears, reaches the throne of the most merciful. That dua is not forgotten. It is stored, it is valued, it is loved. And it will be answered maybe not in the way you imagined, but in the way that is best for your dunya and your akhirah. There is so much power in silent patience. There is so much honor in walking away from a fight you could win simply because you seek Allah's pleasure more than worldly victory. When you know Allah is on your side, you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to scream for attention. You don't need to prove anything, because your peace is in your heart, not in the hands of others. This be your way. Every time someone lets you down, turn to the one who lifts you up. Every time someone wrongs you, walk with the calmness of knowing that Allah's justice is never delayed. And every time your heart aches from betrayal, remind yourself that the heart was never meant to find home in people. It was always meant to rest in Allah. What a beautiful comfort it is to know that even if the entire world misunderstands you, Allah understands you perfectly. Even if everyone doubts you, Allah knows your sincerity. Even if no one sees your tears, Allah counts every drop. Even if no one comes to your aid, Allah is your defender. And when He is on your side, you are never truly alone. There are times in life when you feel completely written off by people. Maybe they dismissed you because of a mistake you made. Maybe they judged you without understanding your side. Maybe they turned away just when you needed them the most. Maybe they spoke behind your back, made assumptions, or spread things that weren't true. In those moments, you feel erased, like your name has been stained, your reputation damaged, your presence forgotten. And yet, even while all of that is happening on the earth, in the skies above, your story is still being written with immense care and wisdom. And the one who is writing that story is not the people who turned against you, but the Lord who created you. When He is the one holding the pen, then never fear the noise of the crowd. Because His pen never slips, His ink never dries, and His decisions are never unjust. The world may misjudge you, people may label you in ways that are unfair, but the Creator knows the truth that lies within your heart. He sees the intentions no one else sees. He understands the silent battles you've never spoken about. So while others may write you off as a failure, a sinner, or someone unworthy, He is writing your name among those who are patient, those who rise after falling, those who turn to Him in their darkest hour. And that's why your worth is never tied to the perception of people. It is tied to your sincerity, your repentance, your dua, and your connection with the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Look at the lives of those who came before us. Take the example of Yusuf, peace be upon him. His own brothers threw him into a well. His own family turned against him. They lied about him. They plotted against him. To the people, it looked like his story was ending in that dark well, abandoned and forgotten. But in the heavens, his story was just beginning. The people around him may have written him off, but the author of all outcomes was preparing something beautiful. From that well, he was taken to a palace. From false accusations, he was raised to truth. From a prison cell, he was lifted to power. And none of that would have made sense if we only judged the story halfway through. So if you're going through a moment right now where it feels like everything is against you, don't conclude your story based on your current chapter. The one who is writing it knows what's coming next. Just because the people around you cannot see your value, it doesn't mean that you have none. People may see your faults, they may highlight your failures, they may enjoy your downfalls. But Allah sees your efforts, your sincerity, and your tears in the quiet of the night. And He never allows anything you go through to be wasted. Even the moments of sadness you keep hidden behind your smile are known to Him. He is never unaware of what you carry in your chest, and that is enough to bring peace to the heart that trusts in Him. You must understand something powerful. When people close doors on you, it is often so that you turn to the only door that was always open. Sometimes the rejection of people is the redirection of Allah. When a door shuts in your face, don't just cry in front of it. Turn around and see the path that Allah is guiding you toward. Some people needed to leave so you could grow. Some situations had to collapse so you could stand again, this time stronger and closer to Allah. And this is why every painful moment in your life carries within it a divine message. Don't place your value in how others treat you. Place it in how sincerely you turn to Allah. There are times when people forget all the good you've done and only remember the one mistake you made. They forget the kindness, the loyalty, the support, and focus only on the flaw. And in doing so, they erase you from their hearts. But Allah doesn't operate that way. He never forgets your efforts. He never overlooks your struggles. Even the good you did years ago that no one appreciated is still recorded with Him. Every small act of patience, every smile you gave, every coin you gave in charity, every hardship you endured silently, all of it is written with precision. And when the time is right, He will raise you with honor. even if the whole world had once buried you in disgrace. Remember, the hearts of people change. They may love you today and leave you tomorrow. They may praise you in public and harm you in private. But the love of Allah is stable, consistent and pure. He does not abandon His servant who turns to Him sincerely, even after making mistakes. In fact, the one who returns to Him after slipping is even more beloved. That's how generous He is. So never define yourself by the opinions of people. Define yourself by how often you turn back to Allah, how deeply you trust Him, and how much you strive for His pleasure even when the world stands against you. And sometimes you will feel that people not only write you off, but they make sure others do the same. They go out of their way to tarnish your name, to isolate you, to make others doubt your character. And that hurts. It's difficult when the people you never harmed begin to look at you with suspicion because of someone else's words. But here's the reality: their lies can never erase your truth. Their words can never undo what Allah knows. And even if the whole world believes them, it doesn't change the reality that Allah is on your side as long as your heart remains sincere. At that point, all you must do is continue doing good. Continue your prayers, continue your patience, continue your kindness, because eventually your character will speak louder than their accusations. And Allah will expose the truth when the time is right, and when He does, He will elevate you far beyond what you expected. Just like Yusuf, peace be upon him, was elevated in the eyes of those who once looked down on him, you too will find your status raised if you respond to hurt with humility and hurt to Him in prayer. Every tear you shed in silence because of injustice is not forgotten. It is counted, it is preserved, and it waters the soil of your eventual success. The more you are wronged and bear it with dignity, the more your soul grows. Because with every injustice you face, you are being prepared for a higher place, prepared for more clarity, prepared for nearness to Allah. You see, pain can either harden your heart or purify it. And when you use your pain to turn to Allah instead of away from Him, it becomes a form of worship. It becomes something beautiful. There are angels that record every sigh, every sleepless night, every aching prayer. Even when you can't find the words, even when all you do is sit in sujood and cry, that's not a moment of weakness. That is strength. Because not everyone turns to Allah when they are broken. Some people fall apart and turn to people, substances, distractions. But when you take your shattered heart and place it before Allah, you are declaring, I trust you. I know you will take care of me. I know you will bring something good out of this. That trust is what brings peace. Not because your situation changes overnight, but because your heart no longer depends on anyone but Him. And when that happens, even if nothing around you changes, you feel stronger, more grounded, more patient. And that's when your du'as become more powerful. That's when your soul is more receptive. Because the broken heart is often the most sincere heart. And Allah loves sincerity. Some of the most amazing people you will ever meet are those who've gone through intense pain but didn't allow it to change who they are. They remained soft-hearted. They remained humble. They continued doing good. That's what real strength looks like. It's not in how loudly you respond, but how calmly you trust. It's not in how aggressively you demand justice, but how gracefully you wait for Allah's justice to unfold, and it will. He never lets wrongdoing go unchecked. It may take time, but His plan is always on time. Next time someone lets you down, someone betrays you, someone tries to erase your worth, remind yourself they may have written you off, but they're not the author of your life. The one who created you still has a plan for you. He still sees you. He still cares. And when He is with you, there is no loss that can break you permanently. Because from every setback, He can create a comeback. From every hardship, He can bring ease. And from every tear, He can grow a garden in your heart. Never stop turning to Him. Never stop praying even when your voice shakes. Never stop believing even when you feel alone. Because He is never far. And His support comes when you least expect it. Just keep your heart clean, your intentions pure, and your connection with Him strong. The world may write you off, but He is writing your story. And when he writes it, it will end with peace, purpose, and unimaginable reward. Sometimes the pain you're going through is not because you did something wrong, but because you're doing something right. That's when things become confusing. You're praying, you're doing your best, you're staying away from haram, you're trying to be kind, you're fulfilling your duties, you're avoiding sin as best as you can, and yet the tests keep increasing. You start wondering why hardship is still coming your way. You look around and see people who are careless about their faith, living in comfort, while you, trying to hold firm to what is right, are being tested at every turn. It feels like life is turned upside down. But that's when you must remember that pain isn't always a punishment. Sometimes it's a preparation, it's a purification, it's a promotion. You see, when you decide to walk on the path that leads to Allah, it doesn't become easier in worldly terms. In fact, it often becomes more difficult. But what changes is not the path, what changes is your strength. The more you turn to Allah, the more He strengthens you from within. So yes, you will face storms, you will face opposition, and at times you may even be mocked for your values. But through every single one of those trials, you are being elevated. And that's why it's so important to remind yourself that your pain has purpose. It's not in vain. Every hardship you face for the sake of remaining steadfast is planting a seed of reward and light that you will harvest in this world and in the next. When you look at those who were beloved to Allah, the prophets, the righteous, the sincere, you'll see that their lives were full of trials. Did that mean they were abandoned? Number? It meant they were chosen. Their pain wasn't a sign of distance from Allah, it was a sign of closeness. So don't be surprised when you find hardship on the path of goodness. Don't expect ease to always be the sign of success. Sometimes ease is a distraction, and sometimes hardship is a signal that you are exactly where you need to be. Because when you are being tested while obeying Allah, those tests become steps toward a higher status. Take the example of a person who wants to give up a sin they are addicted to. At first it's difficult. Their mind tells them to go back. The people around them don't support their change. They feel like no one understands the internal battle. But every time they resist that temptation, every time they choose to say no for the sake of Allah, they are becoming stronger. They may feel like they're in a storm, but with every act of obedience, a tree of strength is growing inside them. And over time, what used to feel impossible becomes easier. Because obedience to Allah, even when painful, always brings long-term peace. Sometimes when people hurt you, it's because of your commitment to the truth. You speak up for what is right. You don't compromise on your principles. And that threatens those who don't like accountability. So they turn on you, they criticize you, they isolate you. And you begin to wonder whether it's worth holding on to your values. But that's when you must realize, if doing what is right makes you lose people, then those people were never truly with you. And what you gain in return, the pleasure of Allah, the clarity of conscience, the strength of integrity is worth far more than any approval you lose. There are moments when you're striving to do good and you don't see any worldly benefit. No one appreciates it, no one acknowledges it. Sometimes you're even accused of having bad intentions. It's painful. But always remind yourself that your deeds are not being done for the applause of people. Your deeds are being written by the angels, recorded with care, preserved with justice. And on the day when no one's opinion matters but Allah's, all of that effort will shine. So don't stop doing good just because people don't see it. Keep doing good because Allah sees it. One of the hardest things to accept is that the pain you are experiencing might last for longer than expected. You might ask, how long do I have to be patient? But true patience is not about waiting for ease to arrive quickly. True patience is about trusting that Allah knows the best time for ease to arrive. When you hold on through the pain, not just with gritted teeth, but with a heart that keeps turning to Allah, you are showing the highest form of faith. And that level of patience is not easy, but it is beautiful. It brings a light into your soul that cannot be extinguished. There's a beautiful secret in every pain that you endure for the sake of Allah. The more it hurts, the greater the reward if you respond with patience. So when someone mocks your hijab, your beard, your modesty, your values, don't respond with anger, respond with gratitude, because their mockery is becoming a means for you to rise. When people slander you, don't fall into the trap of returning insult for insult. Keep your dignity. Let their words fall empty while your reward rises full. Because every moment you spend in self-restraint, Allah is elevating you. And sometimes the pain isn't from people but from life itself. A sudden loss, an illness, a financial struggle, a personal setback. And you begin to wonder why this is happening to you now, especially when you were trying to become better. That's when you must remind yourself that purification is not always comfortable, but it is always meaningful. Just like gold is purified in fire, your soul is being refined through these trials. So instead of asking, why me? Start saying, what does Allah want me to learn from this? That small shift in your mindset can transform pain into power. There will be times when you feel exhausted spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You pray, but your heart feels heavy. You read Quran, but you don't feel the sweetness. You make dua, but you wonder if it's reaching the sky. But even in those moments of dryness, even in the moments when your soul feels empty, Allah is still watching, He is still recording, He still cares. The beauty is not in how you feel, the beauty is in the fact that you kept going despite how you felt. That's sincerity, that's perseverance. And that's what is most beloved to Allah, consistent effort even when the heart is tired. We often think strength means having everything under control. But sometimes strength is just staying upright when everything around you is pushing you to collapse. Sometimes strength is not giving up on your prayers even when you don't see results. Sometimes strength is biting your tongue when your heart is full of pain. Sometimes strength is crying to Allah instead of complaining to people. And that kind of strength is not weakness, it is honor. It is a badge of sincerity. It is what makes the angels proud of you. You may be suffering right now from something no one knows about. You may be fighting a battle in silence. You may be walking through life with a smile that hides the tears you cry at night. But those tears are not lost. They are seen, they are loved, and they are rewarded. Never underestimate the power of what you endure quietly. Because sometimes your silence is louder in the heavens than the loudest cries on earth. Some people around you might tell you to relax your values, to loosen your grip on modesty, to compromise your beliefs. They'll say, just once, it's not a big deal, everyone's doing it. But you must ask yourself, would I rather fit in with people for a moment or be honored by Allah for eternity? Holding firm to your principles isn't arrogance, it's trust. Trust that Allah knows what's best for you. Trust that the rules He gave are not restrictions, they are protection. So hold on, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because every difficulty you endure while obeying Allah is creating a space for ease to arrive. There will be people who make you feel like you're behind, like your life isn't moving fast enough, like you're missing out because you're not chasing the world the way they are. But remember, not every delay is a denial. Sometimes Allah holds things back to protect you, not punish you. Sometimes He slows you down to show you something important. And sometimes what looks like a setback is actually a spiritual shortcut, a way to purify your soul quickly through hardship instead of through years of heedlessness. So don't compare your timeline to anyone else's. The clock of Allah doesn't tick like the clocks of people. If there's one thing you must carry with you through pain, it's this: Allah is never absent. Even when you can't see the wisdom, even when you don't feel the nearness, even when the du'as are unanswered, He is closer than you imagine. Sometimes He delays the ease because He wants you to stay longer in the state of dua. Sometimes He withholds because what you're asking for isn't ready for you or you're not ready for it. And sometimes He replaces your request with something far greater than what you even knew to ask. That's the kind of Lord you're dealing with. So never stop trusting, never stop hoping, and never stop turning to Him, especially in your lowest moments. The truth is, pain is part of the journey. You cannot escape it, but you can transform it. You can use it to become softer, more compassionate, more connected to Allah, or you can let it harden you. The choice is always yours. But when you choose to use your pain as a ladder to climb closer to the most merciful, then even your suffering becomes a blessing. Even your loneliness becomes a prayer. Even your wounds become windows through which light enters your soul. So if they wronged you, don't worry. They may have taken something from you, but Allah will give you more. They may have tried to bring you down, but Allah will raise you higher. They may have closed doors in your face, but Allah will open better ones. Keep walking with faith, keep moving forward, keep making dua, and never forget Allah is on your side.